Welcome to Below the 49th, the perspective on my neighbor to the south below the 49th. I'm Michael A. Charbon. Today's title, American Iconoclasts. Iconoclasm is the belief that it is socially relevant to destroy icons. It's a Greek word meaning image breaking. The deliberate destruction of cultural symbols, statues, and monuments based on current perceptions and assumptions. Today, present-day moral champions believe that monuments, university names, and even street names are but a proxy for only a person's negative ideologies and historical deeds. What current cancel culture radicals are revealing is that they're devoid of impulse forbearance, blind to the complete picture and moral truth of the times past, ignorant to the meaning of democracy, intolerance, and principles of liberty. Today, the devastating destruction of that culture mob of woke cancel society is blind to broad-mindedness. These morally outraged, self-offended vigilantes no longer respect the poignant lessons of history. Extremists would rather judge history at the accomplishments and contentious actions from the lens of their present-day revisionist framework. A whitewash, an erase of the inconvenient historical truths does not change history. Cancel culture mercenaries who judge history by the bar of new woke standards of today is wrong. Important history lessons are part of the voyage of a nation on the path to democracy. They built statues and monuments to celebrate accomplishments of the time. The efforts of art, money, and relevance of these monuments demand preservation. Oh, I hear my partner David say, Michael, you're getting preachy. I'm not trying to preach to anybody, but I'm terribly upset that society is losing so much in their destruction. A German painter, Dürer, of the 16th century said it so eloquently. An image is no more responsible for superstitious abuse than a weapon is responsible for a murder. But what suddenly woke this movement of removal? It was May 25th, 2020, where an American audience witnessed the tragic images of George Floyd's death replayed again and again. It sparked social reckoning, amplified by racial frustration, where a nation was in the throes of a deadly pandemic, locked down, unemployed, where daily COVID death numbers, these tallies were on the screen like stock market tickers as people became desperate, very scared, and angry. Then there were opportunists. Oh, they were opportunists. They realized this crack in society and wanted to capture the madness to destroy a democracy and advance a socialist political agenda. Winston Churchill said, "Never let a good crisis go to waste." So as America is rife with political divisions, pushed and prodded by a like-polarized broadcast media, they pitted black against white. White cops always bad, black suspects not culpable, but the fix is in. A recipe for race wars and a toxic combination to validate the excuse to become a vigilante. It started as a moral outrage, but descended into rioting, setting fires, looting, mass destruction, and just plain lawlessness. A noxious social cocktail to seek vengeance, revenge, and basically, I'm going to get me some. From the targets of innocent businesses, the mob next objective was to society's historical statues. The mob was now emboldened to destroy, vandalize, and topple these societal icons unopposed. As the woke mob rule gained strength, cowardly politicians became afraid of the mob, bowing down to the new violent actions where some lives mattered more than others. How could the greatest, most powerful democracy on earth tear down venerable historical symbols of their nation? Where wealth, success, and the office of the president has no limitations based on color. A nation where Americans can dream and that they can wish and succeed if they work hard to achieve. They were called the Monumental Removal Brigade, engaged in taking down statues they deemed offensive and racist. To date, over 106 statues have been removed or destroyed in America. Imagine the decapitation in Boston and the toppling in St. Paul, Minnesota, from Miami to Grove Park in St. Louis to Baltimore, where a statue was thrown in the harbor, for goodness sakes. Where Italian immigrants in New York City, who are proud of their heritage, took their hard-earned money to create a statue of their explorer, Christopher Columbus, now gone. The same goes for many early U.S. presidents who supported views that could certainly be considered unjust or unjust by today's standard. But many during their terms also achieved great advancements for American society. So, efforts to automatically tear down or erase any historical figures that had flaws rather than documenting both the good and the bad in context is clearly not enlightenment. So consider, if you will, if you believe that adultery is a grave sin, why, something disrespectful to all women and insults the sanctity of marriage and the bond of your vows, should we then take down all the statues of serial philanderers and adulterers? Two famous Americans who come to mind are John F. Kennedy and Martin Luther King. Both were well-documented mysteries and philanderers to a T. Does these indiscretions erase all the accomplishments meriting the taking down of their statues? We must look through the lens of present-day society to appreciate how society has positively matured and changed. We must never lose sight of the lessons, both positive and negative, that history and its statues have to teach us and the generations to come. During the Napoleonic Wars, Vienna was occupied by Napoleon Bonaparte. To celebrate his short-lived conquest, Napoleon ordered his symbols of the eagle to be placed at both sides of the Austrian imperial palace entrances. When the Austrians finally returned to take back the palace, Emperor Francis refused to move the eagles. He said they should remain, to remind Austrians that anyone can experience defeat. They endure those eagles to this day. Now there is a poignant historical lesson. The Civil War may have ended in 1865, but American iconoclasts took revenge in 2020. With the removal of almost 106 artifacts of American history, what has changed? What positive difference has resulted? Nothing, except we don't see them anymore. Don't let the vocal few dismantle any more of history using the mob and guilt and pressure. American author Rachel Mead wrote, "History is important because it teaches us about the past. And by learning about the past, you come to understand the present so that you make an educated decision about the future." Finally, please click and share if you do. Kindly subscribe. If you leave a comment, I try to answer everyone. I thank you for those considerations, and until next time, God bless and stay safe. I'm Michael A. Charbon for Below the 49.